Sometimes life gets crazy and it's just too easy to focus on all the negativity in the world. Welcome to the audio antidote to that. On this show, we highlight the amazing and positive work being done in the world to remind ourselves that there is hope out there for the future. And along the way, we'll pick up some new perspectives and ideas so we can all work together to make the world a little bit better. Because we know that when creativity and community come together, we can create good. This is Creating Good with Matt Barnes. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Creating Good with Matt Barnes. I am Matt Barnes. I don't know why I said my name that way. Why not? I don't know. Anyway, welcome to the show. This is the show where we talk about people who are creating good in the world and really want to further this movement of creating good, encouraging people to use what they have to create good in the world in simple, big, whatever ways you can. It doesn't matter. Small, big, complicated, simple. Every little thing counts. Every little bit when you're contributing to creating good in the world counts. I brought this up a long time ago, and I do not remember the details of this, so I'm going to get some of these things wrong. But the concept, I think I can recount properly. There was a kid, I think this was in like 2012, who did an assignment. I think I mentioned this a long time ago on one of the earliest episodes of the podcast, back when we were Nonprofit Connect. And his project was to figure out how much money could be saved in the government by them changing the font that they were using in printing. And it turned out that it was not a small number. This was millions of dollars. Because he started noticing that, some fonts take more ink than other fonts. And he started with his school district and looking at the printing that they do, and showed that they could have that this one school district could save hundreds of thousands of dollars by switching to a thinner font that didn't have ligatures on it, or serif. And so it would be less ink being used, and it really showed how it added up. And then he took it to a governmental level, and that the United States government could be saving hundreds of millions of dollars by just switching the font that they use. Now, whether they took him up on this or not, I don't know. I don't think that they did. But what it hit for me was this amazing idea that every little bit counts. When we're talking about creating good, when we're talking about anything, that literally changing the size or the type of a font, I don't even think he changed the size of it. It was just the font itself, because it was just a little thinner, and how much that adds up over time. And it's the same thing with the things that we do. It doesn't feel like a big deal in the moment, but the littlest things really add up. It's the smallest things that can make someone's day or change their life, change your life. And I'm going to tell you right now, we have these values with creating good, and I'm working on something on sharing those in a different format, but showing how these values of showing love, being kind, staying curious, right, keeping our cool, and having fun are game changers in our lives, and that order is not accidental. If we can do the first four things on there, showing love, be kind, staying curious, and keeping our cool, then we can have fun and we can enjoy life more. It's this weird thing. If you're good, if you're about creating good, then you will enjoy life more. And I have found that to be true. Doesn't mean everything's always easy, but we're so focused on our lives are going to be better if we have more money, or if we have, and of course, in the world we live in, you need money to survive. That's not in dispute, but we also have so many examples of people who have lots of money who are miserable and are terrible people, to be a lot of the time. Okay, not all, but there are definitely some really rich, terrible people out there. And so it is about all the small things that we have each in ourselves that can add up to more. Today on the podcast, I have Jennifer Kaplan. She is the founder and president of Evolve PR and Marketing. It is Arizona's largest public relations firm. I would have thought just by that sentence alone that this was somebody who I was very interested in talking to from my background with a creative agency and all the things that I love to do, but who might be a little bit, the largest public relations firm in Arizona, maybe a little off-putting. She was amazing. She was one of the just most interesting and just down to earth and easy to talk to people with some really, really great insights. She is all about using what she has to create good in the world, and she has done a lot. She's done some really amazing stuff. I'm gonna really leave it for her to tell you about in our conversation. All right, Jennifer Kaplan, thanks for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you. Excited to be with you today, Matt.
Yeah, me too. I can't wait to hear all about you and your story. Before we jump into all that, I always start off with a segment we call 3 Random Questions, where I ask you 3 random questions. It's very
Wow.
conveniently named. Yeah, our naming scheme is lazy around here.
That was tricky. I wasn't sure.
I know, right? It could have been. What if I called it 3 Random Questions and then I asked you 5? That would be confusing, right? All right.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. What was your favorite movie when you were a kid?
Well, Love Actually, but I don't know how much of a kid I was. Tommy Boy.
Oh,
That's
Tommy
like,
Boy's fantastic.
I mean, again, I don't know how much kiddish, but as a kid, maybe I'm kind of like Wizard of Oz,
Yeah.
kind of old school, but it was just a good inspirational story.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Tommy Boy is a classic, though. I mean, you can go back to that movie over and over again, right?
Yeah.
So good.
Yep.
There was that like
Yeah.
that period there where it was like Tommy Boy and Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore. It was just these.
Well, yeah.
So good.
And Chris Farley did Beverly Hills Ninja
Oh,
and
that's right.
Black Sheep, and I'm a big Chris Farley, so
That
I
was
know a lot of his stuff.
That was a sad day. That's definitely one of those I remember where I was when I heard he passed.
I know.
Sad day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to make this a downer.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, this one actually has kind of 3 parts to it, but it's simple. Do you believe in?
So maybe it is 5 questions.
It might be kind of is 5 questions. Do you believe in aliens?
I do believe that there is something else. Yes.
What about
up there on some planet that's doing something?
Bigfoot?
I actually do. I mean, I don't know. Those
I know,
sightings
right?
kind of seem like
There's gotta be something there.
Yeah.
And what
But
about?
they're doing a really good job of hiding.
Yeah. And do you believe in power naps?
No.
Okay. All right. I find that people have.
I know you're gonna try and throw me off with that, but no.
No, so the 3 things that people seem to have a hard time or have a strong opinion on whether it's a real thing or not.
Yeah, no power naps.
The power naps work for some people, but not everybody.
Agree.
And last question, what is your favorite time of the day? And why?
Morning.
You're a morning person?
I get up early, do yoga, it's quiet, it's my time, and I enjoy every aspect of getting up at 4:45.
Oh my gosh.
Going to do my yoga practice, and no phone is ringing, no emails are coming. I can just kind of zone out before the chaos begins.
The last person I was interviewing was talking about getting up that early and doing things. I'm like, man, I'm so jealous. I've always wanted to be that morning person. I've tried. I just can't do it. It kills me.
Yeah, either people are morning or night.
Yeah.
But yeah, that time's fun time for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have successfully passed 3 random questions.
All right, we can stay on together?
Yes, we will stay. We'll continue with the interview.
Okay.
All right. So, Jennifer, you have Evolve PR and Marketing. That's your company. But I want to know, how did that come to be? What's your origin story like? And who are you?
Yeah, well, my mom says that I was born doing PR, so think of, like, Tiger Woods with his club at 3 years old, and you're like, "Oh, yeah, of course he's a golfer, he started when he was 3." Senior most talkative in high school, all the things that just would foster being a connector and networking and people and really communicating. So I went on to ASU and studied Arizona State University, studied
Mhm.
communications with an emphasis in public relations, and come from a family of entrepreneurs. So after doing some, work and jobs and things like that in my 20s at 30, I decided to start my own business. So it was kind of a fake it till you make it. I wasn't like in an organization where I had this mentor and now I'm going to go on my own. And I
Yeah.
mean, mentors collectively, but
Sure.
industry wise. And now here we are. I sold my equity to a business partner that I had had for 5 years to go on my own 16 years ago.
Wow.
And now, yeah, September's 15 years that I started Evolve. We're the largest PR firm in Arizona. We just hired our 27th person that started on Monday.
That's amazing.
And we've got about 120, 140 clients and growing. And yeah, so the entrepreneurship from the family and then just that passion for communications and um, getting the brand and the whatever company it is, the narrative, the message out into the community.
That's so great, and it's so great that because the whole message for creating good really is about taking what you have, what you're good at, what your skills are, what your resources are, whatever it is, and just being intentional to utilize that to create good in the world. And a lot of that starts with understanding who you are, what you've got. You sound like a person who, for like you said, you came out, you came out, you were what your first words were like spin. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
so
You're right.
like if you've had that skills, and it sounds like was it a question of just how do I put these to use? Was it always there of like I want to do something with this?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I did things along the way, had a little business when I was 15, so that, was kind of that entrepreneurial flex, but didn't know 15 years later at 30 I'd have my own business.
Right.
Got involved in different organizations and like school government, not from like that I liked that aspect, but being a leader and being involved. So there were things all along the way that definitely, um, showcased and proved to me that those were things that I was excited about and passionate about, and I know that people say it seems super cliche, but literally, because I'm doing something I love, I do hop up in the morning and I don't feel like I'm working,
Yeah.
because some nights it's 4 hours sleep or 5 hours sleep, and I just don't even miss a beat because 'cause I'm so excited.
You love what you do.
Um, yeah, so I think it's just kind of that innate passion,
Yeah.
that I've had. And, talking about you kind of put out the creating the good,
Yeah.
99% and that 1% is big when it's big,
Yeah.
but that 99% of what we do is to tell a good story
Yeah.
and create good for our clients. The 1%, like I said, which can blow up,
Sure.
is the crisis comm.
Yeah.
We don't plan for it. We don't focus on that as a firm, but we definitely do a lot of it. But the everyday, day to day, all our clients want is creating good about their brand or
Yeah.
product or service or thought leadership. So that's also really fun too.
Well, yeah, you're bringing people's stories to you're bringing people into other people's stories, and you're helping people bring their dreams to life in a lot, in a lot of ways. And even with that crisis calm and the kind of crisis management stuff, I mean, a lot of times I've seen that, and sometimes it's not the prettier side of things, but it can also be the opportunity to really help somebody navigate something that's difficult because these things do come up and they do happen, and help them get back to telling the story that they wanna tell and not the story that's being told.
Yeah, 100%. In fact, there's one literally right now today that we're going to be onboarding, and it's a medical practice, and they're going through some challenges. And you could hear and feel from them the heartache and stress that it's putting on them, and just knowing we're there for them for that external protection, whether that's statements or, just navigating reporters and things like that,
Yeah,
and how that could protect their practice.
yeah,
Um, so, yeah, when it comes to the crisis comm, it's so impactful, and pivotal to those situations that can really, save somebody's livelihood.
Well, and
and
to have
their
someone like
business.
you thinking from a different perspective on those things, and helping them see the potential pitfalls and how to avoid them as well is so important because, like as an entrepreneur myself, as somebody who started a bunch of businesses and I do a lot of different things, there is so much that you don't know that you don't know when when
Yep.
you get into it. And whether it's man, I mean, I'm in California. I've got an employee in New York. I've got another, I've got another employee in Tennessee. The rules are different in Tennessee. The rules are different in New York, and I've got to be aware of all these things that sometimes I don't even know what questions to ask.
Yep.
And you easily can screw something up on accident. There's just so much. And to have somebody that's looking out for you in different ways to help you, see the different pitfalls of, oh, well, yeah, but I know it sounds like you should say that, but if you say that, then that could lead to the, that kind of thing. And helping people think all those things, it's invaluable.
For sure. That outside perspective, we get tunnel vision when
Yeah.
it's what we do and when we're in it. So, with a lot of service providers, obviously, you hope they've got that pillar of expertise, living and breathing it in their job, whether it's a doctor, a lawyer, you know. But
Hmm.
in PR, we're doing the same thing. We're living and breathing this. So when we can come in and impose our insight and perspective, but then also not have the emotions,
Right.
that when you're in that crisis or just a situation where you don't know
Yeah.
and your head is spinning and you're feeling overwhelmed, and we can be that support and gut check and
Yep.
guide. I really think it's invaluable. But those individuals, you're right, are creating good. It's just that we're there to navigate a situation that, has
Yeah.
arose that's not that good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it happens. It happens to everybody. We all have those days or those things or whatever can go wrong. I wanna go back to you deciding to step out and start your own business because I think people, I always in people's stories, whether it's famous people or it's anybody, and it's like it's a one sentence thing, "Oh, I we started a band and now we're the biggest band in the world." Like, or, I stepped out and decided to start my own business and blah, 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 blah. That's not a small thing, that there's a lot psychologically that goes into that. There's a lot of, it's not for everybody. It's not a one size fits all definitely type of approach either. What for you gave you the confidence, the ability to step out and do that, to go, I have these abilities, these skills, and here's how I want to use them.
How much time do you have? No, I'm kidding. Um, well, I will keep a little bit of a long story short, but I want to answer, your question with that authenticity.
Yeah.
So, um, I was going through a life change,
Mhm,
and I had gotten married and then decided that we were going to get divorced. And I
mhm.
was married in my 20s only for a few years and had not had kids or anything like that. But my career path at that time was not as heavily focused in the PR in what I wanted to do. So when I was going through that, I was like, wait, time out. I'm making these changes, going back to my maiden name, moving into an apartment out of the house, changing even my car, all the things were changing. And I said, now is the time.
Yeah,
Now's the time since I'm making all these major changes. Why not? I think the only one missing at that time was like someone close to me dying. It was
right.
like moving, divorcing, starting a business. And so I decided now is the time that I should do it if I'm going to do it. And so I did, and I joked earlier about fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I had the support of my family just as far as, like, you'll have a roof over your head. And coming from an entrepreneurial family, my mom would say, "Fear is the real four-letter F word."
Yeah.
So, not doing it is, like, the negative,
Yeah.
at least you
Yeah.
try it and then learn. So I was going through this very pivotal time in my life and said, "You know what? This is what I wanna do." This girl came in my life who had a certain background that would complement my background in the industry. So we decided to start our business. Um, and along the way, right before all that was happening, when I mentioned the divorce, we were selling our house. And I had made the decision to kind of go this direction. And I was doing some consulting for a company. And I said, you know what? I'm sorry, I was in-house at a company and I said, "You know what? I need to go on my own."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, I mean, we still wanna keep you. We can pay you. You don't need to come here every day, just, and do the job. We'll just give you a monthly amount of money." And I was like, "Wait, like,
But
that can be like a business where I can just charge people and they'll pay me to do a job and I don't need to show up at their office every day?" So that was the first thing, and then the realtor that was selling my ex-husband in my house said, What industry are you in?" I'm like, "I do PR." And he was like, "Well, we could use some stuff at our firm." So organically, I just kind of put it out there. I don't mean like totally put it out in the universe. I
yeah,
literally
yeah,
put it out there
yeah.
when people would ask. And organically it just kind of happened. Then I met this girl and was like, "Okay, let's kind of launch something." So it happened out of a personal sort of pivotal time in my life that I had that introspection. And then it just so happens that a couple people were like, "We'll use you." And I don't know. I don't know what 30-year-old Jen was saying and thinking. I can't even remember back then that made these people say, "Okay, we'll pay you to do a job and we'll just, you don't need to come here every day." That was the big thing that was kind of the light bulb.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, here we are
It's
many
so
years later.
it's so interesting how different people respond to change and upheaval and all of those things in different ways because some people and it's not right or wrong. It's we all have different sort of behavioral makeup and all that kind of stuff. But some people they really need to shut down and take some time, and some people they really kind of go like you said, it motivated you to go, hey, all this other change is happening, so might as well, if I'm gonna make a change, let's do it now. Let's rip off the band-aid and do it all at one
Yep.
time. And that seems
Yeah.
to work out for you.
Again, my 51-year-old self looking back at that, and I work around people in their 20s and 30s, I think, wow, how did I have that foresight,
Yeah.
to do exactly what you're saying? I think I was just so excited and passionate about it. Like, here is my opportunity. And worst case, you know, I go get a job in another industry or in house or not my own thing, but at least I just want to check the box
Yeah.
and try it.
Yeah. That's
So
that's great
fortunately,
though.
it worked out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it is a gamble. I mean, sometimes these things don't work out. Sometimes but even then, like you said, like if it doesn't, then you learn. It's a learning opportunity. And failure's the greatest teacher, So
Yep.
even within our businesses, I would assume you've had, successes and failures, and you learn from those and you make adjustments going forward.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I still feel like that's daily.
Yeah.
I just had a situation with someone that was in my office and a client, and something that in now 21 years of doing this, I hadn't had before,
Yeah.
just today, and how to navigate that. And I feel more confident from it. I feel stronger. I feel more knowledgeable. I feel the next time I'm in that situation, I'll, be able to navigate it, you know, smoother or
Yeah.
whatever. And so I think each day, again, not to be cliche, but I do think I know each day I'm learning, something new and different that challenges me or helps me grow too. So, and I think, being an entrepreneur, I would say to people, you have to be thinking that way.
Yeah.
You can't I mean, we talked about the tunnel vision, but even just in your own business, with the day-to-day operations, you can't have blinders,
Yeah.
or you're not gonna grow your business.
And that has a lot to do, I think, with who you surround yourself with as well, both personally and at work. I mean, just in life, again, that outside perspective, we all need it, right? And we all need people that complement our strengths, our weaknesses, all those things, so that we can have, present something that's a little more whole and cohesive. Um, but yeah, it really comes like it's made me much more aware of who am I, whether I'm hiring or just even friends that I'm asking their opinions on things, like who am I surrounding myself with, so that I can learn the most, so that I can get the best perspective on these things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and in this situation that I'm referring to today,
Mhm.
the person on my team did give me some awareness and help me navigate that. Where last night I was gonna send an email to a client that was one direction, and I was like, I'm gonna wait. When I talked to her I crafted it differently, and she helped me see that.
Yeah.
And so if it was just me doing it, I may have gone down that path last night, and it ended up being beneficial, and she really helped me navigate that
Yeah.
in a way that supported me.
I was just I was just saying last week, something happened with a client, and I was like, "Man, this has never happened before. A client has never done that before." And I was like, "How many times have I said that?" I feel like I say
Yeah.
that monthly at least. And I need to stop being shocked that clients find new ways to surprise me, because there's just a million different situations out there and scenarios that could come up, and I need to be more ready for those things and instead of being so shocked of like, wow, they came up with a new way to catch me off guard, or
Yeah.
something they were asking for that I was not thinking of, or, whatever it might be.
Well, the dynamics have changed. I
Yeah.
mean, the way that business is done, so that then creates different reactions and solicits different responses from people,
Yeah.
whether that's they can take to social media or the influences of the world and politics and just things that are polarizing
Yeah.
creates those reactions and actions in people. And so I always say too, as a business owner, you've got to be more heightened and aware of those things.
Yeah.
I do believe there's such a thing as bad PR,
Of course.
so whether you have a spouse, a significant other, someone you can trust, vent it to them and showcase it to them, but not as much to the client.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think there's just navigating things so much differently today in the world
Yeah.
than it was 15, 20 years ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Talk to me. I mean, I have a fairly decent experience and understanding with PR. I think though that there is this there are misperceptions about what people in PR do. And I was about to say there are these misperceptions that are this, this, and this, but I want to ask you, what do you think in your experience the biggest misperceptions have been?
Well, the results, it's an intangible,
Yeah.
so how do you measure it? How do you measure those results? But you were on the evening news, blah, 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 but my phone didn't ring or I
Yeah.
didn't. So I think that a lot of people believe that there's this direct correlation with the article or the interview or whatever. And so talking about how things are today, that's an asset. That interview or that article, needs to be used across other platforms.
Uh-huh.
So there is more of a monetization and a value to it than them feeling like there isn't, no one was watching when I did that 3-minute interview. Well, share it on your social, create a media page on your website. Some clients will loop it in a lobby or something.
Yeah.
The article can be, framed and put in a plaque, in your, establishment. So, to answer your question, I would say it's that correlation of it, the phone ringing or ticket sales or volunteers or donor, whatever it is looking beyond that, educating our client to look beyond that moment
Yeah.
and seeing other ways that they can utilize that coverage or that exposure, and there's plenty of ways to do that today. But yeah, PR is earned media,
Yeah.
and they do say that it's 3.5 times the value as an ad because they know an ad was bought and curated a certain way, where the PR editorial, things like that might have a little more thought leadership
Yeah.
behind, like seeming like, oh, wow, you were featured on that interview or in that article versus, yeah, I paid for this article and, it just kind of
Yeah.
looks, it doesn't have that same, it doesn't resonate the same way.
Right.
But all of it, I'm supporter of paid as well. All of it's branding and awareness,
Yeah.
building your brand, building the awareness. So that's another thing that we try to, drive home about the PR is that people knowing that it's building the brand and awareness of their, product or service.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, my background's in creative marketing as well, and yeah, that's I mean that's where I always start is like, who are you? What is your brand? Does your brand actually represent what you want to be putting out there? Is it connecting with the right people? You know, is it what's the personality in the story that people are going to connect with? And if it's not accurate, then we need to start there before we can do anything else.
Yep.
You know?
And we tell our clients, it needs to be educational, informational, But the other big thing we talk about is something feel good,
Yeah.
something that, and that I think really, cause marketing is like big.
Yeah.
Tom's shoes is an example I use that really did a great job.
Yeah.
They might not think the shoe is nice, but they know that if they buy that shoe, it's going to be going to another a shoe gets sent to, someone in another country that needs, shoes on their feet.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's a good example of what businesses should do
Uh-huh.
in building their brand, something in their community, something to give back, something that, connects with people in an authentic way instead of like that salesy kind of pushy way.
Yeah.
I mean, unless of course you're like McDonald's or Coca-Cola and
Yeah.
you can get away with it like that, but generally businesses, showing, something a little more compelling,
Yeah.
I think really impacts people.
Well, it's an extra point to connect to, right? Like it's I think of if you're aware of like Bombas the socks,
Yep,
and
yep,
they do the buy one give one model with
yep.
for people experiencing homelessness, and it's they have, they went on Shark Tank, it was the whole thing, and but what sure, they have great socks. They actually are good socks. I think I'm wearing a pair right now. Um, but
They are.
I couldn't see that on Shark Tank. Like, are they comfortable socks? But the thing that was, I think a lot of people was like, give it a try. Was like, oh well, even if they suck, at least I'm helping somebody.
Yeah.
And then they happen to be good too. And so I keep buying, and and then I was driving home a couple weeks ago, and a guy experiencing homelessness walks by, and he's wearing a pair of Bombas socks,
Wow.
and I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay." So and it's not like some other, it's the same kind that I have. So,
Wow.
like it just, you start to see, like, I mean, it's probably been 10 or 12 years since they launched, and you're seeing how that has built, but it gives you that extra connection point into the story where it's more, I'm not, I don't know that I'm 100% like I'm buying it because I'm helping somebody, but I'm also not doing that. It's the formula is messy maybe, but um I
For
think,
sure. People do feel like they're giving back.
yeah, and then you feel like you're a part of something, you know?
Yes.
When
Yes.
we've got a bunch of little kids and stuff, so we tend to be ask people to take their shoes off in the house and all that kind of stuff. We're those weird people,
Yeah.
but when people come in and they take their shoes off, and if they're wearing Bombas socks, it's like, oh, you're doing that, yeah, like, oh, I got them too, cool, like, and
Yeah.
there is a thing there, and the I can imagine the PR that went into getting that story and helping connect people like me with that story was not insignificant.
Yeah. I mean, and you just brought up a few examples. They're creating a culture.
Mm-hmm.
They're creating a movement.
Yep.
They're creating a connection. And it's really hard to depart from a brand or a service that's doing that.
Yeah.
And so when you build that connection and that community, or in that culture around the brand, like you have FOMO, you want to be a part of it. You
Yeah.
want to be, whether it's because the sock is going back, because, other people might have the sock and it's like a cult following, or like that's to me is genius branding and marketing,
Yeah.
like for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, and it's a
Because
sock.
you're,
Like it's
mhm.
socks. Like I've never before that, I don't think I ever really talked about my socks much,
Yeah.
or cared.
Well, another one that, um, kind of in that vein, but not, I don't know about any give back element that they have,
Mm.
but is Liquid Death.
Oh, right.
It's water, and,
Right.
like, forever, I'm like, "Well, he's drinking a whatever, and she's drinking a whatever," like,
Yeah.
I didn't think it was I
It
didn't know
does.
it was
Yeah.
water,
Yeah.
and then finally, I see it at the grocery store in the water section, and I was
Yeah.
like, "Wow, that's an epic movement in regards to making water sexy and making people feel comfortable at a bar or in a
Yeah.
setting drinking water," and I think that was unbelievable.
The thing about that I was so impressed with was not only just the idea of it. You see a 5-year-old drinking it, and you're like, "Wait, what?" You know?
Yeah,
Uh,
right.
when
Totally.
does he have a 40? That's weird. Um, but
Yeah.
but but that, my first when I recognized what it was and realized what they had done, I thought, "Oh, that's funny. That's catchy." will it stick? Will it be or will it be kind of a
Mm,
gimmick that people are like, oh, that was fun, and then move on from? And they have gotten it to stick. I mean, they didn't rest on just the launch and the initial sort of shock of it, you know.
yep,
It's still going, it's still around, and like my wife
yep,
loves those things. You know,
yep.
they've got
No, 100%. It's, genius marketing, and, I love attaching to brands like that and following brands like
yeah,
that. It's branding and marketing, which we don't do,
right,
but there's PR around that, and there's, um, understanding what solicits people's reactions
yeah,
and responses to a really cool can of water,
right,
where now people are drinking water who weren't drinking it before,
right.
or drinking it as often or drinking it as whatever. So I love all those nuances and aspects, and we do see that in the PR, and I think it's really important for businesses to, um, be aware and in tune of their audience and demographic, and because then you can create, like I said earlier, that culture, that community, and that movement towards your brand.
Yeah. Time flies. I want to wrap up with a question about utilizing PR, and where you've done this to really for like kind of push the good forward. You know, like I think people look at I've found that people look at marketing and PR as um, extras. That if you have a lot of money, okay, yeah, you bring in somebody that does those things. And what we've been
Yeah.
able, like I know what we've been able to do with the branding work that we've done is work with a ton of nonprofits and help them realize this is investing in yourself, and it pays off. I mean, it's amazing how much further it takes your message out there and brings people in. Have you had some specific experiences with that?
Oh, yeah. Um, well, I would say a good portion of our clients are in the nonprofit space,
Mm,
serving different purposes. The best though, and there's some stories. There was the executive director of a nonprofit that did a TV segment, and right after the interview got a $10,000 donation. I mean, that's like thinking where that, and it's a small nonprofit. So that $10,000 goes so far, not to salaries, not to,
right.
overhead. It really translates into impacting the people of the organization that they serve. Um, so, I mean, the nonprofits really just jump out all the time with what they're doing. We love when they get donors and sponsors and volunteers, um, that come out of what we're doing. There's another story where I think it was a credit union or something that was giving to a nonprofit as part of some of their corporate initiatives. And through the PR, I mean, they ended up giving thousands of shoes to this organization. And I'm sure these stories exist all over, the country. But that's the power of how would that potential $10,000 donor or that the corporate might seek it out a little more like,
Mhm.
okay, it's one of our initiatives to give back. What are we passionate about? Kids, dogs, cancer, whatever. I get it might be a little bit more curated there, but still, they might not have known of the organization had it not been from the PR. So we see that a lot. Maybe a ticket to a gala or an event
Sure.
where we can get that exposure. So I just feel like across the board, the PR and nonprofits, and in fact, when COVID happened, we saw obviously a lot of
Yeah.
changes in the impact of different industries. Our nonprofits, not only did they not leave, but we got more nonprofits in the height, like the moment, because they saw that people were being philanthropic, they were supporting each other, helping each other, more concerned about the world and the community that they live in. So, nonprofits are great. Those are, I mean, and not that because that's a no-brainer. Okay,
Yeah.
feel good, creating good, nonprofits, I get it.
Sure.
But it really does not, I mean, nonprofit PR, um, can really move the needle for these organizations.
It can, absolutely, and we had the same experience with branding and marketing during COVID where, I was, because at the time, I think when COVID hit, about 70% of our business was nonprofits. And I thought, we're done. Like, they're going to all shut down until this is over. And, because what are they going to do? They can't, and they all, I mean, stepped up, and like some of our clients ended up having their most impactful years ever, those
Yep.
those 2 years. And because they buckled in and went for it, and we got to tell these amazing stories, and
Mhm.
which ended up bringing even more people in, and is still snowballing to this day. They're still
Yep.
growing, they're still going from some of the efforts during that time. And to be a part of that, doing what I love, what I care about, to be able to do that for these people and see the effects is just so fulfilling.
And I know, just again, being cognizant of time, I wanna add one other layer to
Yeah.
that. When we're able to take one of our for-profit businesses and tie them in, whether it's a restaurant opening and they wanna benefit a charity, or that's even, an extra bonus
Yeah.
on top because the restaurant looks good, to give back, cause marketing.
Sure.
The nonprofit maybe gets exposure to a new audience through that. I'll just use the restaurant again
Yeah.
example. And then, they're getting either funds or money through whatever activation it is, a grand opening, whatnot. So, collaborations, with other businesses and getting them involved in that PR pitch is kind of a double duty too.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's so great. Well, I want to ask the last question that I always ask everybody, which is, what is it in your job that brings you the most joy?
Honestly, I think it's exactly what we were just saying.
Yeah.
I think it's knowing that, and I talked about that with my team too, knowing that we have helped a business, even if it's not in that nonprofit,
Yeah.
because that to me is a no-brainer. But if it's, a thought leader, a retail, a restaurant, real estate, whatever it is, we're somehow impacting their business. And so that's what we have to remind ourselves, or is that what we're doing is driving, maybe someone's livelihood and impacting their business. So I
Yeah,
love that feeling that we get from doing that.
for sure. All right, Jennifer, where can people find more information about you and about Evolve PR?
Well, I think the website's the best and easiest. It's got all the clicks for all the
There
things.
you go.
So it's Evolve PR and spelled out AND marketing.com.
All right. Well, definitely go check out Jennifer and Evolve PR and Marketing, especially if you are in the Arizona region, right?
Yes,
You guys do work nationally or mostly
we do.
focused?
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome.
No, we're all over the country.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
doing this
you.
today. This has been really great, and I'm excited for people to hear more about what you've been up to.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate you.
Creating Good with Matt Barnes is recorded at Rogue Collective in beautiful Newport Beach, California. It's hosted and executive produced by me, Matt Barnes. Post-production is by our amazing friends over at Fame, the B2B podcast agency. Writing is by Matt Barnes and Taylor Bolanos from Rogue Creatives. Creative direction and design is overseen by Corey Hill of Rogue Creatives. Theme music is composed and performed by Jared Atherton of Chapters. Huge thanks to our amazing guests for joining us this episode, and thank you to all of you incredible listeners for tuning in. If you enjoyed the show, and I would imagine you did if you're still listening, so don't forget to help us spread some good by giving us a good review. Preferably like 5 stars, lots of really nice words. It's very helpful. Also, tell your friends and subscribe so we can come straight into your potholes each and every time we have a new episode. Take the Creating Good pledge on our website at creatinggood.co. We'll catch you next time. This has been a Rogue Creatives production.